Butch Bartolome here from the FRAN-GURU Exchange. Lyndah and I would like to welcome you to the show that is every Monday, 6 p.m. You know, Lyndah and I started a business called GMB, Franchise Developers, way back in 1993. Our aim is to help a lot of entrepreneurs to look at franchising, the benefits of how to expand their business, as well as growing their brand. And true enough, we have been successful and blessed to let a lot of entrepreneurs see how franchising works. We have written a book called Is Franchising For You, which won the Book of the Year in 2012, and the third under the profession category in 1983. We also write a column every Saturday over at abscbnnews.com as Business Mentor. The whole purpose is to let people know the goodness of entrepreneurship. So join us every Mondays, 6 p.m. live over cbrc.tv, YouTube, and Facebook. If you have any questions, let us know. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, Lyndah, good evening.
Hi,
Nakamute pala ako, no?
everyone.
Okay.
Katatapos
So,
lang
ngayon, ang
natin
ganda ng pag-uusapan natin, Lyndah, no?
Yeah, correct.
So, ano ang isang, ano ba talaga itong legacy brand na ating topic ngayon?
Exciting itong legacy brand na ito kasi pag sinabing, when you talk about a legacy brand, it is a brand that has lasted the test of time, so to speak. Ibig sabihin nito, it is not just a brand that has been there for 10 years. It has lasted for decades. And this particular brand is 45 years old. Besides the fact that it has lasted for years and years, it is also a legacy brand because it has a very specific niche market. And siya yung known in the market for that particular offering. So we are not going to, the best is to really be able to talk to the person who represents this legacy brand. No other than Dr. Liza Abano Robles. She is the one that will represent Manila Hearing Aid in our discussion now. So, Doc Liza, welcome to the show.
Everyone, good evening. Thank you so much, Miss
Hi,
Lyndah
good
and
evening.
Mr. Butz. Yes, for inviting me to this wonderful show, and talking about legacy brand. Parang I am really honored to represent this topic for your show. Legacy brand. And why Manila Hearing Aid? We've been around for 45 years already. And it's a legacy brand. I mean, I'll talk about it more.
Yeah, kasi also this is a very good opportunity for entrepreneurs listening in, and business people who would like to be in business, to be able to appreciate what makes a legacy brand, because everyone that goes into business would like to see the business through the years. Di ba? You want a business, you want to start a business because you want to be able to say, I want the business to last long. And I want the business to go to my children, to my grandchildren. And I think that's exactly what happened to Manila Hearing Aid. So that it will be best to be able to listen to Doc Lisa as she talks about Manila Hearing Aid. So would you want to start, Doc Lisa?
Yes, yes, please. I'll talk first about. We prepared some presentation for the audience. So let's start. Yes. Next slide,
Next.
please. So again, thank you so much for featuring us as the legacy brand for this show. So Manila Hearing Aid. All right. So most people, like, whenever I tell them, where do you work? I say Manila Hearing Aid. And one of the first things I always say, huh? They go like that. They go, huh? All right. So for them, it's a joke. But, always, I always get that. What do you do? What do you work? Manila Hearing Aid, huh? They're like that. And apparently, some of them don't really understand it. Like, what did you say? No, I'm serious. I did hear it. Many people, actually, hearing, it's one of the key senses in life. And actually, hearing is essential. It's essential for us. Actually, hearing loss as a handicap, it's invincible, and it's not like, like all the other knee things, like heart, diabetes, and all that. But it's high time already, and over the years we have like increased the awareness for hearing loss, that is essential. It's essential for our communication. It's essential for living, actually. Because if we cannot hear well, if you cannot hear well, how can we communicate well? And many problems start there already, actually. Relationship problems, other so many other factors. But and actually, when my father started this business, it had something to do with that. Okay, I'll explain more. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, Manila Hearing Aid. First, what are we? We're a complete hearing laboratory, and then we have retail clinics around, and we serve the needs of the hearing impaired Filipinos. Okay. Hearing related products and equipment, or audiometers, or hearing equipments from world renowned brands. After 45 years of being in the market, we've already studied the brands, the products that really cater to the needs of our hearing impaired community here in the country. Next slide, please. Okay. So we started in 1976. Okay. So our aim,
Long
well,
time ago.
our aim, and to this day, yeah, to this day, our aim is to continue to serve the Filipinos, and we stand by the statement that we are the first hearing aid center, or the first professional hearing aid center here in the country, and we are known for that. The industry is has branded us as that. Okay, so we are the only ones who can really claim that we are the pioneer institution in the hearing care industry in the country. So next slide, please. Yes. Our vision and mission right now, and was still even before when my father, Dr. Jose Abano, started this business, remains the same: to be the country's leading and most trusted hearing care center. And why are we here? Our mission, we strive to be the premier provider of hearing amplification and just the hearing needs, overall hearing care needs of the hearing impaired Philippines. Next slide,
Why,
please. Sorry.
Lisa, Doc Lisa, while the vision of Dr. Abano is really to be the country's leading and most trusted hearing care center in the Philippines, it has the way you're doing this, the way Manila Hearing Aid is offering this to the market has also evolved through the years.
Yes, it has
Mm,
definitely has evolved through the years. I mean, the
mhm.
needs, but the
Yeah,
need
correct.
from the very start, remains. I mean, it has remained all these 45 years that hearing is essential. It's an essential part of life that if we don't have it, I mean, if we have hearing loss, our communication is impeded. Therefore, if your communication is impeded, how can you communicate properly with your loved ones, with your friends, work? How can you hear work? How can you hear the people in your meeting properly? So there's an impediment here. So hearing has always been, in when my Dr. Abano established this company, hearing has always been an essential part of life because when it impedes communication, it impedes relationships and all the other problems, it compounds. And sometimes people don't even know it. That it's just like they're hearing loss, they cannot hear, and all these problems like trickle down. So the vision, the mission, it's always been the same. But of course, the way we do business has
Yes.
completely
The
evolved.
way that you,
The way
it's the
we
way.
do our hearing care, what we have offered, the different products that we have offered from back then to now, and the services. The company has grown from just having one hearing center that is actually on your slide now. That was our
Yes.
first
So that's the
center.
first
What
one.
my father back in the 70s, that one, him in this white and all. That was the first hearing center before, and that was the first professional hearing center in the country.
But
So
I wonder, yeah,
the aim was
Dr.
the same. The aim is still the same, but it's just the way
yeah,
we do business now is completely different. The way we service Filipinos is completely, of course, has evolved, over the years. So, like what it says here, so in the early 76, in particular 1976, in the early 70s, Dr. Abano, he did his training abroad in the US, where I was born actually. I was born while he was training in New York. Okay, and he was an ear nose throat doctor, and he had to come back here for because of his family, because of his parents. He had to come back here, and so when he came back here, he saw that he couldn't find the services that he trained in New York. So he wanted to establish what he saw, what he trained in New York, what he saw there, and he wanted to establish it here. So that's what he did, and so
so
that's why
the
the
question, I think, Doc Lisa, I think the question, Doc Lisa, the question there is, I wonder what your dad saw when, in the Philippines, the state of the country. Imagine a lot of hearing impaired, and yet there is no advanced or professional hearing facility. It
no,
was
no.
really a big challenge for him, right?
Yes,
And his
yes. So
dad and his
yeah,
father he had the challenge actually with his father, right, Lisa?
yes, he was motivated because he had a difficult time. Of course, my grandfather had a hearing loss. Of course, there was a communication problem, and then being an ENT fresh from his stint abroad, he couldn't find the proper that professional kind of setup that that he trained in. He trained for that, and and that's why
Right.
he established. So it was because of my grandfather, his father, that motivated him to set up Manila Hearing Aid. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yes. So in 1976, Manila Hearing Aid opened its first hearing center along Quezon Avenue, and it was awarded as the pioneer in diagnostic audiology. Audiology, by the way, is the science of hearing. So I'm an audiologist, so I deal with everything hearing, hearing diagnosis, identification, hearing management, and so forth. It's all hearing care, right? ENT, my father and my brother, they're both ENTs. That's the medical side already. So they do, pag may disorders and all that. So they deal na sila na yung giving medicines, surgery and all that. But us, we're hearing care. So we diagnose kung may hearing loss. We diagnose, after diagnosis, we identify the kind of hearing loss and how do we manage this hearing loss, whether by medical or surgery. Pero if it cannot anymore be treated medically or surgically, then we resort to hearing aids. In fact, age, well, the most common hearing loss that we see in the clinics would be age-related hearing loss, because as we age, part of it is hearing loss, just like vision loss. Our vision goes down, our hearing also goes down, and that's part of life. So we will all have hearing loss. So there. So that's why people don't realize that. That's why many hearing aid has grown there, because it's really essential and it's part of hearing loss, because we will all have hearing loss later on. Yeah.
Oo nga, and
And
even if you're senior, as you say nga, no, here life special moments. That's
yeah, that's our
the
tagline.
tagline of Manila Hearing Aid.
Because
So
that's so true. When like we see patients in the clinics, and then they're the patient brought by the family, the spouse, yung mga the children, they always say that. They always say, when they make cuento, and they have discussion, when it's like the family member's life special moment, graduation, wedding, somebody proposed to me, boyfriend, girlfriend, like that. And if they have hearing loss, the person with hearing loss would always say, what, in their term, nawawala yung excitement of that kwentuhan. So
yeah.
that's why special moments, that's
Yeah,
why our
because
tagline is your life special moments. Yeah.
and even if you're senior, it does not mean that okay, if you're seniors, then if you have eye problems which comes about because you're senior, then you need glasses to be able to see, correct? But it does not
Yes.
mean that because you're senior, you should not enjoy life moments, life special moments. At least hear the proposal of the fiancé of your grandchildren, correct?
And also
Or
to
hear
hear your
the
grandchildren,
graduation,
ba?
right? Mhm.
Seniors, retired na, or mga near seniors, papa-retire na, you just want to enjoy life. And if you cannot
Yes.
hear, it adds stress. It
Oo
really
nga.
does.
Correct.
If you cannot hear well, nagsisigawan kayo, like, people like, that's so common. Like in the clinic, they say, I have a hard time, talking to my dad or to my mom. We all, we're like raising our voices na, and when they see us, we look like we're shouting, nagagalit sila, and it starts from there. The stress starts from there. Or when when we're watching TV and they want it louder, and it's too loud for us children, those are the complaints. So again, our tagline is based on those comments. Life
Yeah.
special moments. Let's enjoy life special moments, hear life special moments.
Yeah. And even you're retired, you want to travel, you want to see places. How can you go and travel if you can't hear? You can't hear
Yes, yes,
instructions, correct?
yes. Anyway, next slide, please. Yeah, so that's how my father started, and some of the milestones of the company. So in the following years, we continue to develop our hearing care services. Like at first, I think it just started with adults, then it extended to pediatric hearing care.
This is
Um,
interesting. This is interesting, Lisa, because parang when you're talking of Manila Hearing Aid, the first thing that comes to your mind is, seniors, yung mga matatanda na and all. But this is something that maybe people should understand. That Manila Hearing Aid also services pediatric. I didn't even know that there's pediatric hearing care.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because there are children born with hearing loss or acquired hearing loss, and they need to all because if you cannot hear, then how can you learn how to speak? Actually,
Mhm.
hearing is a first order in learning development. It's the first order in learning development. So, children, when they start, before they can even say mama, papa, or all those like first words, they need to hear that from their caregivers, from their parents. They need to hear words. And that's how they learn to speak. Diba? Because
Oh.
when you talk to children, okay, the children have to, you know, follow adults, on how to talk. Not just adults, but follow others. That's when on how to talk. So when if they can hear, they will learn how to speak, and then from there, and then all the higher order of learning already follows, like from
Lisa,
learning. listen, speaking, reading, and then it falls from there.
But Lisa, di ba, children, babies, when they are delivered, especially when they're delivered, maybe in hospitals and even in public, in public facilities, they're given life screening.
Yes, they're give
Does not,
in
does,
particular for
does it
hearing
include
loss.
hearing?
There is already, it's a law. A hearing screening. There's
Okay.
this it's called, but they have a hearing screening there. In it's part of the law now. In newborn health screening, part of the law now is to administer hearing screening to newborn babies. Yeah.
Oh, so that when there is a result that comes out in the life screening and there's something wrong with the hearing of the baby, then they can go to Manila Hearing Aid to
Yes,
be
yes.
able to determine how to handle that hearing
Yeah.
problem.
In terms of the business side of that, for the heating screening, the company also sells the equipment, but at the same time, also in our clinics, in some clinics, all right, um, we can do the hearing screening also. Then we proceed to other tests for pediatric hearing care. Then, if there's hearing loss, we fit hearing aids on them. Then we manage them. There. There's
What's
an
the youngest age? What's the youngest age you can put hearing aid?
oh um I myself, particularly, I fitted when I started practicing as an audiologist. I saw children. The youngest I fitted was 3 months, but as
Wow.
early as 1 month it can be now. But
Wow.
then we have to do the proper test, kasi like abroad, 1 month. I've never fitted 1 month, but we have my colleagues have fitted like 1 month, 1 to 3 months. Yeah. Those are the youngest ones. Yeah, as early as 1 month, as long as the tests are correct. The proper diagnosis have been done. Usually at 3 months. Yeah, yeah. But as early, I've seen babies mga as early as not me myself, but in the clinics, 1 month at that, or 4 to 6 weeks. Abroad, they do that also. Yeah, more pang abroad because mas mabilis sila in identifying talaga the hearing loss. Yeah, I mean identifying the kind of hearing loss and all that. But usually 1 to 3 months. Pwede.
Wow, very young pala, ha? Very
Yes.
young.
Uh,
And,
yeah.
it's really needed. Kasi how can the child learn now? As you said, how can the child learn how to speak when the child can't hear? So
Yes.
Manila Hearing Aid is there to be able to assist the parents do
Yes.
this with them,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Hearing is the first order in the learning development scale. Because you have to hear. The child has to hear first to be able to learn how to speak. And then from speaking, and then reading, and then of course from reading, then the cognitive, then the development already. Yeah. So next slide, please. Yeah. So again, the following years, we were the first to be accredited and recognized by the Philippine Society of Otolaryngology to have a reputable hearing aid fitting system, and we partnered with the top hearing aid innovators to give the best products and services for our patients. So our three major brands, Oticon, Phonak, and Interacoustics, and they are known globally as the top, like uh, top top, maybe top two, top three, like that, top one. Sometimes, like, it depends kasi year to year. There are years na Phonak is number one, Turkish is number one, then okay, there are years na
But these are also legacy
like the
brands.
top global brands.
Yeah, these are also legacy brands globally, right? Lisa,
Yes,
Oticon, and
yes.
Phonak.
Oticon was actually the first hearing aid company, like globally. They've been in existence for over 100 years.
Yeah, parang
19,
19 something pa itong Oticon na ito, no? Correct?
1906 or 1903. I can't remember, but it's more than 100 years old. Phonak has been around for maybe since 1960s, like that. Yeah. Interacoustics, I don't remember anymore, but again, they've been around longer than us actually. Yeah, but Oticon has been around for more than 100 years.
And Manila Hearing Aid and Manila Hearing Aid has been the partners of these legacy brands internationally also for so many years, right?
Yes,
Like
yes, yes.
Lisa?
Yes, yes. Um, we've had them like Oticon 1978 na. And then Phonak also in the early 80s. Yes, we've had them. We handled other brands before, but we stuck with the top, the global, the top ones. Of course, when you want to serve, because over the years, as we evolve into really learning, identifying the needs of the Filipino hearing impaired, these are the brands that cater to their needs. Parang how we saw that how these brands that evolved also the technology that they offered, and they're the ones that really cater to our needs as a company and also to serve our to serve our patients better.
And I
Next
think
slide,
that's
please. Sorry.
yeah, go ahead. Next slide, please.
Yeah. Um, I hear. Well, so in 1984, we put up our own after-sales service for repair and integrated calibration. Why? This is important. We always showcase this because as a hearing center, you have to be able to repair. To repair a lot of post-sale services to the products that you are selling, and we have to be able to um, what do you call this, calibrate our equipments, making sure that they're always up to date. And also these equipments, we sell them to different like institutions. So we have to make sure also that what we sell, we are able to calibrate them like properly according to standards. So yes, in 94, so we were also the first one to come up with, the repair lab and integrated calibration, just the lab assistant because that's important that again holistic, we just don't sell the products, we also we need the post sales service to be because it's also in equipment, there are breakdowns, there are repairs involved, and we have to make sure that there's continuity. Now when a person, it's fitted with hearing aid, or when clinics have like the equipment, dapat nasa service yan regularly to be, to be up and running all the time. Yeah.
And the kind of the recommended or the prescribed hearing aid is going to be dependent on the equipment that you're using, right? So you need to be
Yes,
able to
also.
calibrate that very
Yes,
well.
it's important. Yeah. Yes, yes, that's correct also. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. Then in 1995, we became the first to introduce personalized hearing ear measurement for more custom hearing aid applications. This is what because before we were just relying on what do you call this, like when we program the hearing aids, um, we needed a more customized way measurement of making sure that the hearing aids are really fitted well, like adjusted well, programmed well, and with
Mm.
the real ear measurement system that we brought. I mean, we're the first ones to bring it here to have that kind of system. Parang it takes our fittings have been more, more customized, more personalized according to the needs of the patient, especially according to the hearing loss of the patient. So it became more accurate in more accurate fitting. So there, and
Wow.
until today, of course we do that, yeah. And we sell also the equipments for this. So next slide, please. Yeah. And in 1996, upon the introduction of universal newborn hearing screening, Manila Hearing Aid was the first, made sure that we gave accurate diagnosis. We partnered with the world leading provider of diagnostic solutions for this kind of hearing aid. I said we were the first to have that like certain test for newborn babies there also. Of course, yeah. So we were the first one to come up with this there.
Okay.
Um, next slide, please. Yes. In 1997, um, Oticon being our partner, and also us being in the forefront of making sure that we come up with the latest technology in hearing care. Oticon came up with the first digital hearing aid, which delivers clear hearing aid sound quality. Before kasi, it's just like CDs. Before a long time ago in the before we had
Oh,
like
yes,
tapes,
correct.
diba? Tape was was not
VHS pa. It started with
yeah,
VHS.
VHS better
Okay.
ganyan. Tape pa nun, tape, cassette tape. Then you
Kasi,
had the CD, right? Those CDs, those, same thing. Hearing aids in 1997, Oticon introduced the first digital hearing aid. Something, yeah, it was like parang ganon. So the hearing aids back then were analog. In 1997, we together with Oticon came up with the first digital. I mean, Oticon came with the first digital hearing aid, and Manila Hearing was the first one too. Um, introduced the first digital hearing aid in the Philippines, which gave,
wow.
just like the CD, from cassette tape to CD, better sound quality.
Better sound, better hearing capability, right?
Yes, also more of better hearing aid fitting capability, must more customized to the hearing loss of the patient, to the needs of the patient. So
Okay.
now almost all hearing aids are digital. Yeah. There. Next slide, please. I think, oh, there. In 1999, actually, I came back around the time also. Yeah, 1999. I did my studies in Australia for postgraduate diploma in audiology and master of audiology, and I came back 1999. The top universities, UP and UST, came up with the audiology program, and we were tapped as the private hearing center to for their students to rotate. So
Oh,
there.
this is hands-on. They do hands-on training with your Manila Hearing,
Yes.
with
Yes.
your branches. So how many branches do you have, Lisa, now?
Company owned is 15. Then we have dealers around the country. Yung company
Oh,
owns ours lang, yung Manila Hearing Aid. Yeah. Yeah. And then
wow,
dealers.
very exciting. This is an exciting series for Franguru, because now we realize about hearing, life special moments, and parang um you know the common concept of people really is pag hearing, it's really the old people. But now Lisa is telling us you also have uh, needs of pediatrics, babies as early as 3 months old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, even before. Actually, if you see like children or even adults na now who sign to sign language, who cannot didn't learn how to speak, most likely when they were young, they were born with hearing loss, or they probably acquired it at such a young age and they were not able to develop speech. So, so we have a few employees who are, except that's part of our we do have employees who are signing, hard of hearing, and not, they're really hearing impaired already, and then they're signing. Yes. Mm-mm.
So
So
this is
there,
the
yes, yeah.
so this is the first part of brand story of Manila Hearing Aid, and uh, takeaways lang, and in summary, what has happened is that the business actually started from a need of Dr. Abano, who's the dad of Lisa. The need for better hearing assistance or support to a father who needs, who is hearing impaired. And of course he has a comparison to his experience in the US. So he told himself, if that's what I saw in the US, it should also be servicing the needs of hearing impaired in the Philippines. So that was how Dr. Abano started with Manila Hearing Aid as early as 1976. So Manila Hearing Aid is 45 years old now. So what will be interesting in the next series will be how the second generation has taken over the management of Manila Hearing Aid because Dr. Abano is in his also senior years, and the mom just when your mom just passed away, like Doc Lisa.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
She was responsible for growing the business. Yeah. And then
yes,
my
yes,
father was a technical clinical side, so their teamwork was really good. And yes, so by my father, of course, being the ENT and all the clinical or the technical, he was the brains behind it. But my mother was the business person, you know. So yeah, so that's why they were able to grow the business very well.
so maybe you'd like to invite our viewers to the next of your series on Manila Hearing Aid, Lisa.
Yes. Um, well, um, well, I hope that um, I was able to like introduce Manila Hearing Aid and what we're about and what we do. And those are just those were the beginning for I just talked about our beginning. And in the next session, I invite you to listen to us again as I continue to inform you and relate to you how how my parents were able to transition us, from business from them to now.
Yeah, that's the one that will be very interesting to be able to see how the transition was done to the next generation because I think that's the big question of a lot of our entrepreneurs, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
we will have Dr. Liza Abano Robles again on Monday at the same time here in Franguru. Thank you very much for your time, Doc Lisa.
Thank you very much, Miss Linda, Mr. Butz. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be your guest,
Thank
especially.
you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Very, very informative session. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Goodbye. Good night.
Bye. So that's our series on the legacy brand. That's the of Franguru, and we hope to be able to see you again next week as Manila Hearing Aid in the person of Dr. Liza Abano Robles will relate to us exactly how the parents transitioned the business to the actual management of the second generation. So still the same tagline, Manila Hearing Aid wishes everyone the opportunity to hear life special moments. So with that, we end our series of Franguru and we hope to see you again next week so that you will hear more of special moments from Manila Hearing Aid. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for
Bye.
watching Franguru Exchange. Watch out for more episodes as we bring to you a lot of exciting information only here at Franguru Exchange. And thank you to CBRC.tv.